or good afternoon, whenever you're looking at the video. Grandma Nancy here at the Grand Rapids Area Library. We're doing a fun project today. We're doing a tissue paper mitten with a watercolor background. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. We picked a mitten because this is the time from, let's see, February 13th until February 28th. If you can get your mittens on a good read in, then you'll be able to get a free book prize. So that'll be fun, and I thought the mitten was an appropriate reminder to get that done. Plus, we still have some great snow. The last few days have been good snow snow and making snow forts and things like that. So this is an early end to winter, but you never know. This might be an early spring. All right, so I'll show you a couple examples. This is one where it is just one color in the background. This is another one. We'll talk more in detail about this one, how they did the tissue paper, because it certainly looks different than this tissue paper, right? And we'll talk about that. This is a very fun method too. In the background, we have a snowstorm. So multi-colors were used to make it look like it's a storm. And then this one is hopeful for an early spring. We have a fun rainbow, and then we have a mitten. And it actually has some black lines across it. Really great. And you can notice that you may use the paper whichever way you feel looks the nicest for you. Okay? These will be wonderful and colorful. And you can pick up your kit at the Grand Rapids Area Library, and perhaps you already have, but if you haven't, send a grown-up down to get the Artastic at Home kit. Let's see what's in it. Oh my. 2 nice sheets of watercolor paper. This is that very nice heavy paper. So you can do a mitten, and then you could do something else. Some kind of a free painting that you choose. We have a mitten. We have a watercolor set. A glue stick. Oh, look at this sweet little bag. And in this sweet little bag, we have a whole bunch of different colors of tissue squares. So we'll be talking about that. To get your materials ready today, you should have some nice clean water. I have 2 cups, you only need 1, and then if it gets muddy watered, you can freshen it up. Then you should have your paper. You should have your mitten, your paint, your glue stick, and your tissue paper. Now some people might want to keep their tissue paper in their bag, and you're welcome to do that. I'm going to take my tissue paper and kind of spread it out so I can see. Wow. See what colors I have. They are fantastic. They are so beautiful. They're just wonderful colors. So if you want to get ready, oh, this has to be opened too. It has plastic, and maybe your grown-up can help you open that. You want to get ready, and then we will do our project. All right, hopefully you're set up. I have water. I open my paint, nice new watercolor again. I have my brush ready to go. I have the glue stick. I have my colored tissue. I'm gonna start with the background. And the reason I want to start with the background is this paint will be wet, and eventually when we're done with our mitten, we're going to glue it onto the background. So we'll want to give that a little chance to dry. And you'll have time at home to let it dry. Remember I said you could use your paper either way, whichever look you want. I'm gonna use my paper this way, and we are gonna start painting our background. So then, while we're doing our mitten, it'll have a chance to dry. Now today, you remember when we do paintings with these watercolors, you need to have water on the color you want. So I'm just gonna put some water on a couple colors, and I have to break that seal, right? So the paint is kind of sealed, and I'll just get some nice water on there. I'm going to use, right now I've decided, I'm going to use blue and purple, because blue and purple remind me of snow. You might use other colors. This one, lots of colors were used, and it gave it the effect that a snowstorm is coming behind. So I really like that too. You can also do the rainbow. You can do the rainbow, or you can do just one solid color, and that's a blue. Your blue's a little different than this one. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is work quite a bit of water into it. Usually don't use quite as much water. And then I'm just gonna start, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. I want to have it pretty wet. So right now I'm just adding water. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab another color, and I'm going to paint it right next to my blue there. I grabbed the purple. I don't want to paint it on top of the purple, or the blue, excuse me. I want to paint it right alongside of it so it starts to flow together. If I feel like I am drying out a little bit, I'm getting some more paint. And again, you don't have to do this kind of a method, but I like when the colors move and ooze. It's called bleeding. The colors are bleeding together. Do you see that? Isn't that gorgeous? I really like that. Now you can't control where your colors are going to go, which is really fun, but you're just keeping them wet, painting right next to them. If it looks like you're drying out, you just get some extra paint on there. So think of this as a ballerina. She's light on her toes, and she's moving gracefully and very, very quickly and dancing across the paper. Dancing across the paper. Ooh, I like it. So I'm gonna go for this whole effect. You, of course, may do what you want, how you want it. You might want your colors to be not oozing and bleeding so much, and so you would not use quite as much water. And again, I want to be careful that I'm not really going on top, because I don't want to make mud. It gets too muddy when the colors go literally on top. I let them naturally move together. Now, because I'm using so much water, you can see my paper is warping, isn't it? Can you see that is warping a little bit? And I'm just using a little bit of purple, then I'm using a little bit of blue. I want to get a little bit more in here, but I need more water. So I just put a little water, do you see that? And look what happens. It oozes and moves and dances across the paper. Oh no, I have a hair. Did you see that? Oh, it's stuck on my brush. That happens. And here we go here. I like this look quite a bit. You can start painting. If you haven't started painting, join me now. And honestly, whatever you want to do is great. This is your art piece. I just decided to choose 2 colors and make them blend together, keeping it really wet. You may do whatever you want. Some places are gonna be darker with paint, some places are gonna be lighter. The more water I have, the lighter paint I get. And then I'm gonna, with watercolor, you never wanna have any total white showing, so I'm just gonna go in and grab that little place where there is white showing. Ooh, this is pretty, don't you think? I think this is very pretty. I'm sure yours is gorgeous too. You can hear it. The paintbrush sliding across, dancing across the paper. And notice how many times I grab that water. My water is still pretty clean. You have to judge your water. Ooh, I love right here how it's oozing and moving and dancing around. Very nice, I like that. And I'm just about finished. It's a large sheet of paper. It's very fun. I like doing backgrounds like this. Now, I don't have any newspaper, and I forgot to mention that you might want newspaper under your table. This is an art table, so we just wipe it right up, and it does not take much to wipe it up. So if you get a little bit of paint on your table, it'll be okay. It comes right up with the damp paper toweling. Oh, this will be a nice flow here, don't you think? Yes, look at that. That is great. And over here, but over here I'm drying out a little bit, so I'm gonna just get water. That's just plain water I'm putting down there. And it's helping my colors move and ooze and blend together as my little paintbrush dances on her tippy toes. Okay. Now you don't really know, this method, you don't really know where it's gonna move and where it's going to ooze and what the design is looking like, which I actually really, really love that. I love that. Like right here, look at how it moved. And here, now, I'm gonna move this really carefully because if I pick it up, that paint is going to run, which is fine. If it happens, it's fine, but I don't want it to run a lot because I currently really like it. So I moved my paper to the side, and you can do that when you're done. I did get a little bit of paint on my table, and that'll just come off by wiping like that. And I am gonna wipe it off a little bit because I don't want that wet paint to get on my mitten. Even if it does, it's not a big deal. Okay, now I have to make some decisions. You'll notice this one, the tissue paper is really little pieces. This one, the tissue paper is bigger pieces. So you can decide what you want to do. On this one, the paper was torn. So let me just show you how we start. You're just gonna start with a piece, and I'll use a big piece. And then it'll work best if you put the glue on the mitten and just only in the area where the tissue paper is going. Don't do the whole thing because by the time you get down here, it'll be dry and that's not good. So I'm just gonna do, and I might not do the whole area, but that's okay because once my mitten is finished, any places that are sticking up like that, I'll just put some glue on. Any places sticking up. And we'll do a whole go over once it's done, okay? So that's how these big pieces would work. And, whoa, it folded a little bit, but that's okay. Then I'm going to overlap them somewhat. I'm going to overlap the colors somewhat so you'll see you can see how that overlapped. And there's that little fold, but that's okay. I'll just show you how we're going to do this, but I'll wait for this for the end. I'll just fold over anything that went to the edge, okay? If that makes sense. Now, let's see. I'm just building. I'm just building a pattern. You can see the glue there. Do you see that? But don't worry about that because that will dry. And then you won't see that purple any longer. Then I just lift it, get that there. Okay, what other color do I want to use? So many choices. Did I use that color? Yep, that's the color I used there. I'm going to try this color. And this one is going to go over, so I'll want to fold that over. And just do a little glue to fold that over. And again, you can finish those edges off when your piece is done too, and I will. I will do that a little better at that time. Let's go green. Remember, you want them to overlap. The other thing is, I'm putting them on somewhat randomly. You might, I don't have an example of this, but you might do it in lines too, and that would be fine. You might do it in lines also. That's totally fine. Okay. Looking good. It's looking good. I want to use, and you see that where that purple glue was showing, it's already dried. And, okay, so now I'm gonna change my design up a little bit, and I'm gonna actually put some torn pieces on. Remember, let me, wait, I'm gonna do one more. I want a nice yellow bright one in here, and then I'll do one more. Then I'll start the other. And again, we see the glue, but we don't worry about it because that will dry. And a little dot there. Okay, so you can do your whole entire mitten with the squares that have already been cut for you. That's totally fine. Some people might want to tear their tissue paper. And tearing the tissue paper is very easy because it's so thin. So I just am tearing some little pieces. I'm tearing. And they will be different shapes. Do you see that? It's not, I'm not gonna be able to tear a perfect square. I'm just gonna tear like this. Okay, So that's what it would look like with torn pieces. I am going to tear another one. And you can tear them, see this one's bigger. You can tear them any size you want. And it's actually really fun to tear tissue paper. Tear it, tear it. It's very fun. Okay, now these pieces are smaller, aren't they? I might start to put them right here, and I'm going to do a little section this time. Oh, they're gonna be hard for me to grab. That's funny. Woo, I got it. Okay, so I'm gonna put this right there. And then I might put a purple one right here. Okay, I might put, these are hard to grab. Now I'm gonna do orange one right here. And a purple one right here. Now you can see that went right by my mitten, by my thumb. So I'm just gonna come behind here and connect it to the back, okay? So you can go ahead and get your mitten done, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes and I will have my mitten done too. Welcome back. And I finished mine. I have some of these little bits hanging out, so I wanted to show you again. You want it to be a nice, clean mitten line. So I just flip it over, put a little dot of glue, and actually it doesn't matter if you get too much there, because that's obviously too much, because, and then I fold it in, we're gonna be putting it onto our watercolored paper. A little pink here that has to fold in. Even the littlest part hanging out you can fold in. It's pretty amazing, really. And that's where I had folded that thumb in before, but I guess I didn't get all of it. So, all right. Guess that little piece needs to come in too. And fold that in. This little piece needs some more glue. Fold that in. And a little dab there. See how I got extra glue, but I'm just kind of smoothing that out. And you can go right on top a little bit to that, and then just smooth it out. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, I really like it. Now, I did the big squares, remember? And then I did some torn paper. I'm looking at it, and I feel like it needs to be more uniform. And so I'm going to actually take some more torn pieces. So my piece is going to be a combination of torn, and then I'm going to put some torn pieces just in different areas. I feel like I need a little bit more. And there's a little white here, so I'm gonna put this and then fold that over. I like that. And I see the same issue right here. There's just a dot of white. So I put the glue right on top. And then I'm going to fold that over. And down here, I see a little bit of white. And I'm going to fold that over and glue that down. Okay, let's see. Now, anywhere that Anywhere that's not totally glued, you can go over and glue that. So like right here, see how that's up? I want that glued down. And if you get the glue out here, it's okay. That's just a little bit needs to be glued. Oh, that needs to be glued. So go through and finish your gluing. That one needs to be glued. And again, it doesn't matter if you get the glue on top of the tissue because it will dry and you won't see the purple of the glue. Little piece needs is that up? Yep, that's up. So that needed a little bit of glue too. Okay. Now I think I'm ready to, looks like my watercolor is dry. I have extra tissue, which I'm assuming you will have extra tissue, and it would be very fun for you to make something else with the tissue. You could make a rainbow or whatever. Excuse me, I just sneezed. This is black tissue that was torn to make a line, and I really like that look, and there's also a gray one. Go ahead and do that if you want. Okay. So this is dry, and I'm going to, ooh, I like that color matchup. I wasn't sure, but I like it very much. So now you need quite a bit of glue because this is heavy paper and this is heavy paper. I'm going to glue the back of my mitten, and I'm going to do it by going in circles around the edge. Circles around the edge. And then I'll come up the middle and do bigger circles in the middle. Bigger circles in the middle. It's actually kind of fun. Just a little bit, in case that dried, I'm gonna go around again. Okay, you wanna work a little fast when you're gluing because it does dry. And then I'll just put it, I'll place mine somewhat in the center, and you wanna hold it down for a minute and kind of rub it. And then if it's sticking up any place, which it is, I'm gonna come in with the glue and press it down. Okay, so there's our finished product. One more thing that you could do, because the paper is so thick and I have so much water, it's sort of warped. If you have a big book that you could put, or a couple of books you could put right on top of it, that'll hold it down and press it. And that's kind of a good tip for any artwork you do that gets a little bit warped up like that, or you want to make sure is glued. Turned out very pretty. I hope yours is pretty too, and I hope you had a good time. All right, I had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the project too. And again, you have that extra sheet, you have some extra tissue, you have some paint. Just create whatever you want with those extra materials. Also, if you can get your mitts on a good read in soon this week, and then you can pick up a prize book. So we'll see you next month at the Grand Rapids Area Library.